Okay, I call the meeting of the Duncanville ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum of Board of Trustees is present and that the meeting has been duly called, and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Good evening. Our mission at Duncanville ISD is to engage, equip, and empower all scholars to achieve their unique potential. We will now move into our opening ceremonies. Trustee Vera Cruz, would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Good evening, everyone. Join me for a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing over this meeting. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. I pray for a period of rest and reflection for students, educators, leadership teams, and the Board of Eight during this Christmas season. Lord, we pray your will be done in the coming new year. Amen.
Thank you. Trustee Fahey, will you lead us in the pledges?
Sure. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
We'll now move into the superintendent's report. Dr. Smith.
All right, thank you, President McNeely, board members, and those that are in the audience. I have the following items that I'd like to report on. The first item is just one that's really near and dear to me. It's just a recognition of the Duncanville ISD custodial team, really. And just want the custodial team and the maintenance team to know that they are very appreciated. Many of individuals may not know that we had a crisis situation a little while ago with some plumbing, and we have a couple of visuals here back at Reed Middle School where they encountered some significant issues with the sprinkler system, and that resulted in a substantial flood on the north side of the building right during school. And so within really literally just a matter of minutes, the water filled the hallways, filled the classrooms, and the auditorium, and they had to displace the teachers and the students. And it was just amazing. In a moment's notice, our emergency crews, they promptly arrived, they assessed the situation, emphasized different needs, and made a quick decision. And meanwhile, got our students and our teachers to a very safe place. The maintenance team, they just sprang right into action, deploying lots of machines. They extracted the water, closing the leaking pipes, and really just rolled their sleeves up and did everything possible in a very short period of time to get the facility back up to speed so that the students and the teachers could get back in their classrooms the very next day. Throughout the whole process, they had a smile on their face. They were very committed to finishing and making good restoration so that the kids would be ready, the classes would be ready for the students the next day. They maintained, just worked tirelessly throughout the evening, diligently trying to clean the campus. And they do this each and every day, but this was just one event that none of us was expecting. And it was just amazing to see how they went into proactive, quick action, take charge mode. And that's just what we do in Duncanville, and I'm so appreciative. Many of them are seated back there. I want to ask if they could just stand so that we can recognize you and the work that you do. And this was all while they were doing their regular jobs. We have a ton of events at Sandra Meadows Arena. And we are short-staffed, as many districts are in that area. But they really work together and do everything possible to make sure that our facilities are in a decent place so that we can perform and teach and work. And so we just want to say thank you all very much. So thank you for that. Also, the Panther Angel Tree Initiative. That's a special opportunity, one of my favorite times of the year that I like to see. But that's an opportunity to come together as a Duncanville family and do something for others. It's always good to put a smile on someone else's face. And so that's what we were able to do for students that were in need during the holidays. As a district, we committed to providing gifts for 100 students who were selected by the campus personnel, and it was based on the students' needs. And so each angel tree was labeled with what the students wanted and what the students needed. And our students got not only what they needed, but they also got what they wanted because of the heart of the Duncanville community. And so we are really thankful for that. This is the time of the year when, not everyone gets what they want nor need. And it's just good for us to be able to provide that for our students. And so a special thank you to our counseling department who really helped make the students available to us so that we could meet those needs. And again, this is just amazing work for all of our students. So thanks to all who participated in the Angel Tree. The next item is on the clear backpacks. I wanted to remind everyone that we had our clear backpack distribution. That is and was an absolutely huge effort. And so our technology department, our chief of schools, our principals all across the district all chipped in and were able to make sure that we were able to deploy backpacks for all of our students. And so our students are now carrying those backpacks, and we have a good system to where we can monitor who received a backpack. Of course, the first backpack for the students was free, and the students were actually excited when they got their backpack. So it's just one part of our total comprehensive safety plan that we have for the district, and I'm glad to see that it was a success. So I wanted to report on that. And then, in case anyone was asleep this weekend, we did win the state championship in football. So it's good to be back-to-back state champions. I had an opportunity to visit with Coach Samples today, and we talked about the year. It's been a long year, and most don't truly always understand what goes on behind the scenes to run a football program with all the activities and all the distractions that potentially could be out there for young people. And Coach Samples and his team, they do a wonderful job of taking care of our students and making sure that they're in the best position possible for them to be successful. And so to be able to watch that and witness that from early summer, June, all the way to December, and all the ups and downs that happen during the course of a football season, and then to see them remain focused and finish the goal and get the result that they wanted, which was to win the state championship. It's just good to witness, especially having a real close view and understanding some of the details that nobody sees that goes into coaching and preparing and getting kids ready. So I'm really proud of them and proud of what they're going to be doing in the future. And then the last item I have in January, that is the month that we recognize our school board members. And January 22nd, I will not be here. I will be transitioning to another school district, but I wanted to say a few words about the opportunity that I've been given to serve here in Duncanville. I've been very fortunate to have been here 8 years now. And I work with the best board that anyone could ever work with. And I want you to know they are absolutely awesome. What you see is what happens behind the scenes. They are very supportive. They are very positive. They are very encouraging because the work is hard. They are very passionate about the work that we have to do. They want to serve the students and the staff of Duncanville ISD. And I'm telling you, they have been good to me. They have been a blessing to me and my family. And I thank them for giving me the opportunity to serve, because they had a lot of options. But they chose me, and they gave me an opportunity to serve. And I'm so appreciative, and forever will be grateful, and forever will be my family. And so, as well as our staff, I want to thank my staff. I appreciate everything that y'all have done for me the 8 years that I've been here. A lot of hard work, and you work hard. You don't complain. Your team players. And Duncanville is really in good hands with you. And so parents and community, you all have embraced me greatly. And so I am forever, again, indebted to what you've given me an opportunity to do here in Duncanville. And there'll never be another Duncanville in my life. This was the season for me. And so I'm better because I was blessed enough to have the opportunity to be here. And so while I won't be here on the 22nd, I'll be thinking about you that whole month, and we'll be recognizing and reflecting on all that you have done for me. So thank you very much.
We'll now move on to recognitions. Ms. Wallace.
We'll go to the donations slide. Excuse me. President McNeely, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. These are our donations for the month of December. We have received donations for the district, for our football team, Panther Pantry, Central Elementary School, as well as the Student Support Services. And so we are grateful, as always, to our community for their unwavering support of Duncanville ISD. Next slide, please. We have a donation that also is coming to us today. And at this time, I would like to invite the Leadership Southwest class of 2023 to please stand and be recognized. I believe Amanda Torres is their point of contact. Hi, Amanda. Hello, everybody. So this is the class of 2023, and they are donating $3,750 to Duncanville ISD to support the district's effort to combat the issue of displaced teens. The class of 2023 hosted a luncheon, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, inviting community leaders like yourself, business owners, corporations, and higher education institutions to raise funding, bring awareness, and incite change to a growing issue into communities. So the Leadership Southwest class of 2023, they are here today because they raised so much money that they were able to divide it equally across all of the best Southwest school districts. And so thank you very much for your support. You are appreciated. And here shortly, when we go into closed session, we're going to invite you guys up because we would like to get a picture of you at the dais with your ceremonial check. Thank you. And Dr. Smith, once a Panther, always a Panther. All right. This concludes my report.
Okay. Now we'll move into administering the oath of office to an elected trustee. Cassandra?
Yes.
We're just going to swear in every...
Good evening, President McNeely, board members, and Dr. Smith. Okay, Cassandra, will you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I state your name.
I, Cassandra Phillips,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of School Board Trustee,
of the office of School Board Trustee,
Place 5,
Place 5
of Duncanville ISD
of Duncanville ISD
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will be,
and will be,
and will do the best to my abilities
and will do the best of my abilities
to preserve, protect, and defend
to preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Cassandra, would you have your friends stand? We will now move into closed session. Okay, we're back from closed sessions. We'll now move into communication from citizens to discuss pending agenda items. Nobody? All right. Consider the approval of a consent agenda. All items may be acted upon at the same time by the Board of Trustees. Does anybody have any questions?
Sorry.
Anybody have any go ahead.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
Anybody have any questions about any item on the consent agenda? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. We move on to the action items. Bond reimbursement. I'm on the right page. Bond reimbursement resolution. Dr. Alaska.
Thank you. Good evening, President McNeely, trustees, and Dr. Smith. On November 7th, the Duncanville ISD voters graciously passed two bond propositions totaling $170 million. Tonight, you'll hear from our financial advisor regarding our timeline for selling the bonds, which will take place in spring of 2024. However, to avoid delays in getting some of our more critical needs on the calendar, we are asking the board to adopt a reimbursement resolution that authorizes us to make bond purchases up to $15 million using current fund balance dollars. We would then reimburse the fund balance once the bonds are sold. All purchases exceeding $50,000 will still come to the board for approval. Therefore, I am pleased to recommend that the board approve the bond reimbursement resolution that's attached in your packet this evening, allowing the use of fund balance dollars in the amount not to exceed $15 million.
Anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Alaska. So the $15 million, what projects constitute the $15 million?
So with that 50-minute, it can really be any of our most critical needs projects. So one thing for sure that we want to go ahead and move forward on is purchasing some of our buses that we would need for the fall. And then that way we can go ahead and move forward with that. Some of our more critical needs that with safety and security, getting some of our safety and security projects moving forward. Those are some of the types of projects we are looking to move forward with.
So how was the $15 million arrived at?
But-
Is there not a list of projects?
Well, no, there are a specific list of projects, but in a general sense. 15 million was what we felt the capacity was within our current fund balance, and that we could go ahead and utilize and then get reimbursed on.
So what is our current fund balance? And are there any obligations against that fund balance?
Thank you for that question. I'll actually turn it over to Mr. Garrison, our Chief Financial Officer. He'll be better able to respond to that.
Our current fund balance is close to 65 million, which from our first report, when we presented, is well over the 3-month requirement amount. And so the 15 million is essentially a stopgap until we can fund our bond program. So essentially, we would be borrowing from our fund balance and then replacing it. So even though we might dip into that a little bit, in the long run, that money's going to come back to that until we decide to sell the bonds. So it puts us in a position, if we can find a way to purchase buses at a cheaper rate, provide some of these items faster to our students and departments, then we can do that without having to wait for the sale of the bonds, and then we'll replenish that. With 15 million out of that 65, it doesn't put us in any type of cash flow need or deficit to run any type of purchasing or payroll for our department. It gives us plenty of cushion.
Okay, and so what is the timing of the reimbursement?
We look at the latest to sell our bonds from our last meeting, and again, all subject to change pending board approval, as well as working with our bond advisor. But we're looking at the latest at May or June, and would probably be sooner. So again, our goal is to, if we were to use any of the funds that we utilize from our fund balance, this would be closed out and reimbursed within this fiscal year. Wouldn't even go into carryover for the following fiscal year.
Okay, and I do recognize there's probably a long lead time for acquisition of the buses, you know.
There can be. Actually, I have a report. I don't know how much to share, how public it is, but I received a report from our operations department and this is a good example of why we would use or put this type of resolution in place. If there are buses that are available, so there's a bus company that may have 200 or 300 buses that could be available for sale. If we don't have this resolution in place and have gone through the proper procurement, then we haven't sold our bonds, we don't have the ability to do that. With this resolution, if we do find new buses that we can purchase those immediately. So it puts us in an advantageous position to go ahead and make acquisition and purchases for some of our safety, security, maybe roofing or something along those lines that needs to be done immediately without putting a delay in that.
Well, yeah, and so a purchase of a bus, I can imagine, is probably at least 100,000, probably two. So it would have to come before the board anyway.
And that is correct. Any of the purchase, the resolution just allows us the authority to reimburse the funds. Any of the requisition purchasing processes would go through with our current policy. So this is not a blank check of 15 million. It allows us up to that to borrow from our fund balance to make these purchases and replace it. But if we do a requisition, anything over 50,000 would still come to the board for approval. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then could we expect monthly accounting for this funding?
Yes, of course.
In approving this resolution, could it have any negative effect on our bond rating or the first things first accountability or?
No, ma'am, because
Okay.
essentially it's congruent with our current bonds. So we've already passed the bonds, we've done all those things. It just allows us to use our current funds to be replaced by the bonds when we sell them.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, of course.
You mentioned a bond advisor. Do we already have a bond advisor?
Our financial advisor, Josh McLaughlin, and he's slated to present as well tonight.
And then we also work with bond counsel, which is Bracewell. We work with Bracewell is our bond counsel, and they work with us on the financial side of our bond is Bracewell.
Who?
Bracewell.
Bracewell? Okay, I'm just curious who they were. Any other questions?
Do we have one?
Okay.
I'm sorry, let me
Do I
just
have-
let them know what my question is. I'm sorry, yes, sorry for the sidebar. My question was trying to see, we have a bond advisor, but I was wondering if we had a project manager yet.
And
Not at
thank
this
you.
time. Yeah, we are in the process of putting out an RFQ. Right now, it's actually supposed to be out this week for considering a bond manager, a project manager.
And we were discussing just the differences of bond counsel
Yes,
and a project manager.
Yeah,
Two totally separate, different
yes.
things.
Bond
And
counsel
their role and
is-
function is
yes.
totally separate and different.
Absolutely. The bond counsel works on, is an attorney that helps us on the financial language, and then the bond project manager actually oversees the timeline and the projects and making sure everything is executed in alignment with what we had put before our voters.
Thank you. I was confusing the project manager with the bond advisor.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Halatra, you said that you're putting that out for a bond project manager. Can you explain that process, like timeline? When will that go out? How long will they have?
We are putting it out, and they will have until January 10th. We post that in the newspaper as required by law. It will also be on our webpage so that it's anyone who would like to submit can do so. And then we have a process where we will do a screening of all the people who may submit, all the firms that submit for that, and then we'll do a process of interviews and presentations. So it's a whole lengthy process. So it will be February before we bring those recommendations to the board.
Thank you.
Will it be a RFP or RFQ process?
RFQ. It is an RFQ,
Professional services?
professional services.
Okay,
correct.
so it'll be a RFP.
Nope.
No, it's an RFQ.
Okay. And then, so the, the anticipated expenditures prior to the receipt of bond funds, would it be possible for you to bring to the board a list of anticipated expenditures to the next meeting?
Sure.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve as presented the bond reimbursement resolution allowing the use of fund balances in an amount not to exceed $15 million.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Alaska. Now, Dr. Brown, you're up.
Good evening, President McNeely, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. I'm delighted to introduce a proposal for the revitalization of Plaza B103, B104, commonly recognized as the boardroom, for your consideration. This area has not undergone a significant update in terms of audiovisual equipment for about a decade. And the technologies currently in use tonight do not align with the vision for the future of Duncanville ISD. This renovation serves as a precursor to the technological enhancements slated for our classrooms in the coming years following the recent approval of the bond referendum. Let's take a moment to review the components outlined in this proposal. At present, the presentations in this venue are exhibited throughout the room using 4 large format projectors. Our proposal suggests replacing these projectors with 3 high-definition direct view LED displays, 2 positioned in the front of the room flanking the dais, and 1 centrally located on the rear wall. Beyond the noticeable display upgrades, which would be very significant, we are advocating for the incorporation of new cameras, employing artificial intelligence to automatically adjust focus based on the speaker. Additionally, we would propose integrating new microphones with built-in speakers to enhance the
Amen.
audio quality for each board member and provide the option for voting buttons if you chose to use them. Furthermore, we plan to enhance the control room system, granting our board meeting operators greater oversight of the room's technology while concurrently simplifying the controls for improved ease of use during meetings between the board meetings. Our recommendation is to approve the acquisition of equipment and services for the Plaza B103, B104 renovation, totaling $260,472.49 from Delcom Group. While I've highlighted the more prominent features in this brief presentation, it's important to note that numerous technical improvements behind the scenes will contribute to providing the City of Champions with the expected features and functionality. Representatives from Delcom Group are present tonight, and we welcome any questions you may have.
So this microphone system's gonna be better?
Yes, sir.
Hallelujah.
So, just to clarify, 103 and 104 is this room?
Yes, ma'am.
No
The board
other
room.
rooms?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Jackie?
Thank you, Dr. Brown. I have a question regarding whether these improvements were contemplated during the time that we talked about bond projects. I think technology was considered.
Yes, ma'am. They were considered, but we want to try to get this project done before the bonds are sold, just because it's such a need that we're really in need to get this project moved forward.
So will this be funded from the bond proceeds?
As of right now, it is being funded from local, but with the resolution that you just passed, it could possibly be switched to bond. That would be a question really more probably for our CFO.
Is there any capability in this new product where we could live stream our meetings?
Yes, ma'am. That is built into the new system.
Okay, thank you.
So we would have the ability to not only record, but live stream if you so choose.
What would be the timeline?
It'll take about 10 weeks to get the order and all the equipment in and installed.
Okay.
So we would be looking sometime in the end of February. Probably the March board meeting would be the first time we'd get to use it.
I just have several questions. I don't want to keep us tonight, but I'd like some more information. I'm not really sure where this fell in the, was this part of the list of the technology listed redoing the boardroom
I'm sorry, for
for the bond?
the bond. Not originally, no, ma'am.
Yeah,
No, ma'am. It was not part of what was presented, what the bond committee considered.
okay, yeah, because I didn't remember that.
No, ma'am. It's part of the general AV improvements that the district will have district-wide, and that is part of the bond program, is that we'd be doing AV projects across every classroom and cafeteria and in the school district, auditorium,
Yeah.
so.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Dr. Brown, you mentioned that we could possibly switch from local funds to bond money. What's the likelihood of doing that?
To be frank, it would be seamless and easy to do. I think the issue at hand is what was stated earlier, in that this will be the first project that we take on out of, if we chose to do this out of bond fund. By the way, and again, this is where your bond counsel comes in as far as saying, yes, this is allowable, no, it's not allowable. Based on my interpretation, I would say that this is allowable. We had specifically audio-visual equipment to be replaced and repaired, and furniture, fixtures, and equipments almost in every bond issue. The issue really is the fact that this wasn't specifically laid out as a project, and it would be the first project we take on as a district, which is why we chose to take this out of local funds, just to make certain that we're following the letter of the law. And we didn't want the first project we take on to say, well, this wasn't really on the list, but it qualifies. So, but as far as how we book it, whether it's bonds or local, it could be done either way. But we have the funds available. We've earmarked those funds to carve out to make this happen, move this project along. As Dr. Brown said, it needs to be taken care of. Could it be reimbursed out of bond funds? I do believe that could be, and this is a good example of what the resolution is for. But this was not a specific project that was laid out, so we chose to go with local funds.
Thank you.
Of course.
Considering that this meeting can be live streamed at the time that the meeting is conducted rather than tomorrow morning or whenever people get on, I'm in favor of this, so I would like to recommend that the board approve an audiovisual renovation and upgrade for Plaza Room B103, B104, the boardroom, from Delcom Group LP for the amount of $260,472.49.
Second.
Any questions or any comments?
I have a comment, just for the record. I'm uncomfortable with starting with our room as the first project that we do. I just wanted to say that.
Is that because of the metal detectors that maybe we?
Well, I think it's because of several other school site needs that we have, and we don't have a list and it wasn't in the original one. So I'm just uncomfortable making the first project that we use our boardroom when we have site needs.
It could be a better way of communicating what goes on during the school board meetings. It's too much trouble now for a person to link up the next day.
Are we saying that we cannot live stream right now? We don't have the capability of?
I don't believe with the way that the board is, the technology that's still functional in this room, that we could actually live stream today. I think 5 or 6 years ago, you probably could, but.
Any other comments? Okay, let's vote. All in favor? All against? Okay, carries 4-3. Now we're in information, right? Okay, now move on to information. Bond financial update. Mr. McLaughlin?
Good evening, President McNeely, members of the board, Dr. Smith. Pleasure to see you again. I'll make this quick and painless on you tonight. First of all, congratulations. We put this together to say congratulations for the bond program. And after Saturday, I can say congratulations on the state championship. Again, excellent results. I know several school districts within the state that wish they had these kind of voting results. Anytime you get over 60%, you really pat yourself on the back. It's tremendous. Next slide, please. In terms of next steps, one of the first things was to adopt the reimbursement resolution. Again, this just gives you financial flexibility to pay for those initial costs. That may be $2 or $3 million here versus selling all $170 million in the next couple months. The next thing is to design the finance plan. Once we get some more information, basically once you have your architects in place and your construction manager, and they can sit down and look at each individual project, they could design sort of a cash flow. When do we need the money? And how long will that money last for? Then we could put together a finance plan that basically says how many times we have to sell, when do we need to sell, and then bring that back to the board's attention. Right now, based upon our timeline, we would bring that to the Board of Trustees in the March-April timeframe, and then be in a position to sell, in the late April early May timeframe, so you would actually be funded in June, which is in the 180 days for the reimbursement resolution. As part of the next step to round out the finance team and get the financial institutions who will ultimately sell bonds, they're going to release, the district will release an RFQ for bond underwriters. That will occur in January, and then we'll get the results from that in February. And one of the last things we did want to mention is once we get to the actual sale date and we actually know a sale date, we will have the underwriting syndicate put together an advertisement that you could put out on your social media, letting the citizens of Duncanville know exactly when the bond sale is. And we will structure the bond sale so that any citizen within Duncanville ISD who wants to buy bonds will get their bonds before investors in the national capital markets. I know I went through that relatively quickly. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief?
Thank you. President McNeely, Board of Trustees, Dr. Mark Smith. The top priority of the Duncanville Independent School District in the state of Texas is keeping students and staff safe every day. The Texas School Safety Center recently conducted an intruder detection audit at one or more of our campuses. The audits test whether the campus is accessible to an unauthorized individual. This audit, conducted as a part of the Governor Abbott's school safety directives for all school systems following the tragedy of Uvalde, seeks to help districts identify how campuses can improve safety for students, such as ensuring exterior doors are locked. The audit provides us with an opportunity to create a safer learning environment with minor security adjustments for all our students and staff. We are working closely with our district school safety security committee to ensure that we are training all our staff and securing our doors for the protection of everyone at our campus. The support from the state in conducting the intruder detection audits is just one of many actions we are taking to ensure our schools are safe. We know that this work does not end, and we appreciate the board's support. We acknowledge that parents and community members are likely very interested in the details of the audit results. However, it is in the best interest of the students that we do not share this information with the broader public, as it could lead to compromising important campus security information. Specific details of the intruder detection audit would be discussed in the executive session and with the school and with the Safety and Security Committee. Duncanville ISD is committed to providing a safe and secure learning environment for our students and staff. Any questions?
Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chief Lambert.
Yes, ma'am.
So will you be discussing any security concerns with us in our executive session?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Okay, at the next board meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Do we have a security audit of any form?
Self, as in the district within itself?
I don't know if we done an external audit or an internal audit.
Yes, ma'am. So internal and external audits with each campus is done weekly. We do that internally within my department or within the police department. We do conduct audits weekly. Yes, ma'am.
Could we get a summary of that in the
Sure.
executive session too?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions?
Anybody else? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you for your support.
Now we move on to communication from citizens. Dr. Ivory, is our Vice President, will handle this.
We've received 2 cards. And before you make your way to the front, please allow me to read the following. State law prohibits board members from responding to speakers in public forum unless the topic regards a matter specifically posted on tonight's agenda. The board will carefully consider any concerns expressed, and an administrator will investigate the matter. At your request, the administrator will contact you regarding your concern. Speakers will limit their comments to 3 minutes. If more than 5 speakers are present, and we only have 2, so I'll go to the next bullet. If delegations of more than 5 people, we only have 2, so I'll go to the next bullet. Any discussions concerning specific personnel is prohibited in open session. If you wish to address the board regarding a personnel matter, please contact the superintendent's office to schedule the matter for a future closed session meeting. Having stated that, when I call your name, please come forward, state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes to address the board. Ms. Euleen Trice.
Good evening, President McNeely, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. My name is Yulena Trice, and I am a teacher from Brandenburg Intermediate School, and I'm also a member of Southwest Dallas American Federation of Teachers. On behalf of Southwest Dallas AFT, we are not in favor of the district pursuing the teacher incentive allotment. This incentive is not equitable to all teachers. For example, teachers with academically high-performing students would qualify for the incentive, whereas teachers with students who are years behind academically would not qualify. In both cases, the teachers are being rated based on how their students performed. Also, not all teachers qualify for the incentive. This program rates teachers based on how students perform. And also, if a teacher is in a STAR-tested area, those teachers would actually qualify, but exclude those teachers who do not. In the Round Rock ISD school district, they began to roll out the teacher incentive allotment in phases as of this year. They're actually starting with the elementary school teachers, and only those teachers will be receiving that funding. But at the same time, their high school teachers currently are not part of this plan, and as a result, those teachers do feel as though this program is unfair. The teacher incentive allotment was designed to reward and retain teachers, but for some teachers, they don't see this as a benefit. In some districts where the teacher incentive allotment is implemented, teachers feel pressure to teach to the test. Teachers have mentioned that they're being pressured to also teach to the STAR test, also base their instruction on STAR testing and prep. Teachers feel as though they are just teaching to the STAR test and not delivering high-quality instruction. In addition, the funding for the teacher incentive allotment does not go directly to the designated teacher. The funding goes to the teacher's school district, with the requirement that the district must use at least 90% of the funds for teacher compensation on the campus where the designated teacher works. Regarding compensation, the funds may not be a part of the teacher's salary and won't be included in the district's compensation plan to be approved annually by the Board of Trustees. The compensation will not in all cases be credible for TRS purposes. In conclusion, to keep equity among teachers, teachers should be paid based on their level of education and years of experience. The members of Southwest Dallas AFT supports Duncanville ISD as far as doing what's best and equitable for all teachers. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to our meeting. LaShonda Foster. Is LaShonda Foster present? Thank you. That concludes our statements from citizens.
Let's go home.
Translation. Meeting is adjourned.